Hey, Brandon. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Melissa?
Really good. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you to everyone who might be watching on the stream. For those who are watching, you can add comments on our Facebook live stream. Our YouTube comments are currently restricted. But if you comment on Facebook, we'll see those. And we will try and ask them to Brandon if possible. Okay, so here we go. Brandon Holdridge, a lifelong Chester resident, is running to fill a seat on the Chester Town Board. Brandon was the elected Student Association Senate Chairman at SUNY, the State University of New York. He has served on the Chester Police Reform Committee and is currently serving on the Chester Democratic Committee. Brandon has worked in the New York State Senate for 3 years, which has given him firsthand experience on what it means to be a public servant. Above all else, he wants to ensure Chester stays affordable for hardworking families, and he wants to make people believe in the government again. So, I would like to hear a little bit more about your motivation for running for Chester Town Board, and specifically, like why now? Why at this specific kind of moment in your life do you feel like it's a good time to run for the town board?
Sorry, something just happened with the camera here. Yeah, so what's it called? I wanted to run my whole life for public office, just because I've always been interested in being a public servant. I went to school for poli-sci. I went in economics and history, and I wanted to get involved with my local committee here in Chester. I've lived here my whole life. And it has been just an amazing time here. I love where I live, and I love the people around it. They are the ones that put me in the position that I am in today. To be successful and to get an education and have a good life. And I wanted to give back to them, but I didn't really know how. I've never been involved on the local level, so I got involved in my local Chester Democratic Committee, and I met the people, and they were really great. And it just so happens that there was a position opened on the town board this upcoming election. There's actually 3 positions, 2 for re-election, and there's 1 open seat. And they thought it'd be a good idea if I ran for the open seat. And I was kind of unsure at first, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And but I talked to them, and I met with leaders around the community, and I met with just regular people, and I started to learn more about what was going on here, and what could be fixed and what can be improved on, and what was really happening in the town. And when I heard everything that was going on, I really knew that I wanted to run. Like I knew what I needed to do to fix all the problems, and I knew that we needed somebody new on the board who was part of the new generation, who could look at things in a different way and bring different types of solutions to the table for everything that's going on in our community. And it kind of expands to my whole county here in Orange County, New York. But just here in Chester, I want to do something for the community that really helped me along throughout my life so far. So I was just really inspired by the people encouraging me in my local community, and in my local committee, and really just knowing what the issues were in my town and in my community here.
Mm-hmm. So, in your decision to run, you felt like you had a lot of support from those within your local community, and
Mm-hmm.
amongst any role models you might have had.
Yeah, no, for sure. My family goes back here in Chester 3+ generations now. So everybody. I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people know the lineage of my family. My mom's side and my dad's side, they both come from here. So like, everywhere I go, it's like, oh, like you're Marin's grandkid, or oh, you're Bonnie's grandkid, or oh, you're Marion's son, or Sean's son. And it's like it's really open here. It's a small town here. It's about 13,000 people. So I wouldn't say everybody knows everybody, but we all kind of know each other to some extent. And it's a really open and welcoming community. And I want to really do something for them. Because I feel like a lot of people are very just unhappy with the way things are going right now. And when they speak to me, and when they know who I am, and my background, they really get excited, because they know me, they know my family, they know I come from a good family, and they know that they can kind of trust me. It's not they don't really know me on a personal level, but they know where I come from, and they can trust me. They know that I've lived here my whole life. And, I tell them I want to live here for the rest of my life. I want to raise my family here. I don't want to be the last generation of Holdridges in Chester. Like, I want Chester to be affordable for my generation and, the generations, so on and so forth. And I'm really dedicated to what's going on here in Chester. So they really energized me to run, and they felt energized by me just coming around and talking to them.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the great benefits of being connected into your community for a long period of time. I think that having the chance to serve your community and be involved in it brings a lot of joy and happiness. And I've seen that in friends' lives and my family's lives, and I think that's always really inspiring.
Yeah.
I saw recently on one of your campaign, I think your Facebook campaign page, that you had an event with other young people that were running in Orange County, New York. Do you feel like you've been able to share best practices with other young people who are running in the state, or maybe in even just Orange County?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we have something here. The Young Democrats of Orange County. It's a newly formed group. We used to have a chapter here, but that kind of died down a few years ago, and yeah, it's been reinstituted as of last year. I think it was the end of 2020. It got reinstituted, or at the beginning of 2021. I can't remember which. But yeah, no, it's amazing. The people that put it on, Zach Constantine, our president. He's great. And he and the committee got everybody together, and we had this fundraiser for the committee, and we all got to pull together, and we all talked about, like you said, the best practices and our own experiences with it, because there are so many. I'm sorry, that keeps happening. I don't know why. What's it called? There's so many people and from around here in Orange County. It's different types of environments, because you have a rural suburban area like mine, Chester, 13,000 people, and then you have places like Newburgh, which is more of like a city dwelling, and you have Washingtonville and Monroe, and there's different types of areas here in Orange County, and we're all running these campaigns. As young people, there's like 25 plus young Democratic candidates here running in Orange County, and I'm really happy to be part of that group. And it's really just reassuring to see all these other people running at the same time, and we're being able to share each other's experiences. It's great that, because we're all pulling each other up, and we're all kind of supporting each other. And I text them on the daily. I call them, and we hang out sometimes, and it's really great. It's really great.
Do you think you guys have faced any particular challenges in your campaign? You specifically, any challenges as you've been running for Chestertown board?
Yeah, challenges. So, I mean, I would put it's difficult, because I want to say that being young is like a challenge within itself. It's also an advantage, because people see it, and like I said earlier, they're energized. They're like, oh, it's so nice to see a young person run. But that's only so many people that think like that. There's other people that when you come to their door, they're like, who are you? And like, you look like you're 12, and like, so like they're like, well, why would I trust this position with you? And you kind of have to explain to them what your experience is, and what you want to do, and be detailed about it, because there are a lot of people that take it very seriously, as they should, and they're not so sure about trusting somebody as young as I am. I'm 24, with a position like that. So and so I guess I would say that's one of the challenges. Another challenge is just not having experience running in the past. So I've helped other people with their campaigns. I've worked on other campaigns, but I've never run for myself. So it's definitely a new experience. It's a fun experience for sure, but it's a challenge. And but people like challenges, and I like challenges. So it's interesting trying to go through the motions of running for yourself, and trying to define yourself, and what your political ideology is, and what you're running on, and how to convey your message to people. It's very new, and it's very challenging, but I think I'm up for the task. I love what I'm doing right now, and it's great. Other challenges, I mean, yeah, no, I think that's really it. Just being young, and running your first campaign. Yeah, I think those are the two top challenges for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you managed to bring a lot of experience from your time working in the New York State Senate? Like, were you able to bring some of what you learned there to your campaign, or
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, no, for sure. I worked in the state senate for 3 years under two different state senators. The first year and a half, I worked for Senator Jose Peralta, where I was a legislative aide. So I was up in Albany and the state capitol, working on legislation, working on the state budget. Speaking to constituency groups, to lobbyists. So I kind of gained a lot of legislative and budgeting experience from that. It was a very interesting time up there to see how it actually is run up in the state capitol. And so I like to pull that over and say, like, there's some things in Chester that we'd like to get done, and to get those things done, they have to get past the Albany. They have to get past the state legislature, the Senate and the Assembly, and then get signed by the governor. And I have some experience in that. It's not a lot. It's not amazing experience, but I still have it. And not a lot of people that are on the town board right now who are running against me can say that. So I can say, I know how to get bills kind of passed up there. Like I know the process. I know what can help us and what can hurt us. And there is something that we need to get passed here in Chester, the Land Community Preservation Act, that didn't get passed last year because I feel we had a lack of experience of understanding how to get it done, where to put our efforts into and our support into. So I've been saying to people, I feel like I can be a big help. And then the other half of this is, my other half is this. I worked for Senator David Carlucci as a district representative. So that was more dealing with people problems, constituent services, and I absolutely enjoyed that. I love that. I love helping people with their I say minor issues because as compared to like bigger state issues, it's not as big. But I love it all the more because hearing people at the end of the day, when you've helped them and like they can find some relief to having to deal with the state bureaucracy, or getting a pothole fixed, or dealing with like Optimum, the cell service, trying to overcharge them, or getting their unemployment handled because of the coronavirus epidemic. Hearing their relief and their just saying thank you at the end of the day, it means so much to me. And I want to bring that to Chester. I feel like there's so many people in this town that don't feel like the constituent services are up to snuff. Like they call the town of Chester, they don't get a call back for weeks or months, or they don't get one at all. They ask a question and then they get the runaround. They ask for help about something and then they're told to go look somewhere else for help. And I feel like you kind of said in the intro where I believe that I want to make people believe in their government again, because I feel like there's just such a lack of belief in government now on the federal, state, and local level. I want to at least do some good on the local level and make people believe in Chester again, make people believe in the local government here and say, hey, I can go call Chester, I can go call the town government, and not be told to, I can't help you, or I can't do this, or I don't want to do this, or just not get a call back at all. So I want to bring some quality, constituent services to Chester and allow people to feel comfortable to call us.
Mm-hmm. I talked to a candidate who was running for Lennox City Council last Friday, Melanie Aurora.
Okay.
And she had mentioned that she was also running her first campaign, and one thing that she had to learn, I think fairly quickly, was that she wanted to focus on kind of these larger, bigger picture issues, or that's how she started her campaign. And she had quickly learned and discovered that for her constituents, that they cared about the local pool and the streets and very local kind of driven issues. Do you think that you also had to adapt your campaign mindset from when you started to now, like what you were just focusing on, or what issues you realized that maybe your constituents had that you didn't realize that were so important to them?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mentioned it earlier that I didn't really know I was going to run until I got involved with my committee. And so I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to run just because I've always wanted to run. I wanted to run to help people. And really, so in order to do that, you need to know what they want. You need to know what's important to them. So I mentioned earlier, I went to community leaders. I went to organizations within the community, like our local Kiwanis chapter, and the historian and the library. And I went to different different areas and different businesses, different people, and found out what interests them, what the issues are. And I went canvassing. I went door to door, even without campaign literature. I went just to say hi. What I thought.
Oh, I think we lost Brendan. Let's wait for him to rejoin here. Let's give it a couple minutes and then we'll restart the stream here.
Still can't hear anything from you.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
there we are.
All right, so we're all good?
Yep. Okay. I am not positive where we left off. I think you were.
What's it called? I was talking about finding out what I was running on. And so, like I was saying, I didn't know what I was running on the beginning, and once I went canvassing, once I went to go see what people were interested in, I really was able to refine my message, refine my strategy, and to really just delve into the issues here. And those became three things for me: fiscal responsibility, which is really corny. A lot of politicians talk about that all the time. But it's a really big thing here. The second thing is accountability and transparency, another big issue here in Chester, which is also corny. And finally, it's land preservation, which speaks to the more affordability aspect that you were talking about earlier in the intro of me. It's a big problem here, not just in Chester, not just in Orange County, but in all of New York. Being able to live here and afford to live here is becoming a really big problem, not only for my generation, not only for the millennial generation, but even for my parents, the Gen Xers, and even baby boomers, the retirees. People are finding such a hard time to live here in New York in general, and I want to do my part on the local level to try to see if I can make it a little tiny bit more affordable to live here in Chester, because it's such a beautiful town, and I hate to hear every door I went to, every person I talked to, it was always the same thing. It's like, I want to live here, I grew up here, or I moved here to get away from more urban areas like the city, but I just can't afford to live here anymore. I can't afford my house. Like I want to retire, but when I retire, I'm not going to be able to afford the house anymore. Or my kids don't want to live here. They're all moving away because they can't buy a house here. So I want to do something to try to help that out. And that those three major points became my message, and it's going over very well. People are very happy to hear what I'm running on, and they're very excited to see what I can do if I'm elected.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I wonder if if you have a feeling that the perceptions around young people running for office has changed at all. Like if I think you are seeing that there are more younger people running for office, and I wonder if you've been able to speak to a perception change that's occurring even in the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I never would have thought I was going to be running as a 24-year-old, for any position. But I think the perception's definitely changed. Like I said earlier, there are some people that are very kind of about it. Like they're like, oh, like I don't know if I can trust you with this, but that's a slim minority, to be honest. The majority of people that I talk to, older, younger, in the middle, they're very excited to see. They're always saying how I'm really, like, it's really nice seeing such a young person be involved in politics and want to run for something. And it's actually it's out of two things. It's out of excitement, like they're really happy about the energy that I'm going to bring. They're also out of concern because so many people, like I was saying before, they don't believe in the political system anymore. They don't believe in government. They think it's all corrupt, or it doesn't do anything, or it's all just about taxes and taking away their money. And they're afraid that such a young person like myself, who is optimistic and who wants to change the world, as they always say, they're afraid that I'm gonna get jaded, and I'm gonna get sucked into the system. And but they're also hopeful at the same time. So it's a mix of different emotions. But I'm hearing that all over. Like I said, with the Young Democrats of Orange County, I got to meet so many other young Democrats that were running, and it is so, just like I said, inspiring to see all the energy and to see the optimism, and that's what's changing all these perceptions. It's that energy, it's that optimism. It's the different solutions, it's the different values and ideals. Like I just feel like it's so important for we as young people to run, because if we don't, and if we don't pressure the older generations, and if we don't fight for what we believe in and what we want to see the world become, then it's not going to happen that way, or at least it's going to be very much delayed. There's a lot of very important issues to us that might not be as important to older generations. And I'm not just trying to blanket statement that, but specifically speaking, with climate change, with affordability, it's situations like that where it's very important to us, and we want to push for that more. We want to be more aggressive with the policy making on those subjects and others. And we don't necessarily always see that from other people that are already in the system or are older than us. So it really is a perception change that is going to be the fuel for us, and we need to change people's hearts and minds, and on how useful somebody as young as I can be, as I.
Looks like we lost Brennan again. Hold on just 1 minute, everybody.
Got me back?
Yep, got you back.
Okay, perfect. Did you get all of that, or did I
We
cut off
left
at
off with
some
what
point?
you were saying about you as a young person.
Yeah, it is really exciting to be running as a young person. It's important for us to run. I don't know how much got cut out, but basically, it is important for us to run because we have so many different issues that are important to us that might not be as important to other people that are already in the political system, and we need to push for that. And I'm seeing that from the young Dems all around me in Orange County, like somebody that you're having on, for example, in September, Giselle Martinez. She's going to be speaking in September, I believe. Seeing what she's doing in her campaign, seeing what other people are doing in in their campaigns, it's very inspiring to see all these young people come out and run and push for our values and our ideals. Because if we don't, then it's going to happen. It's either not going to happen or it's going to happen too slowly to make a significant change. And that's part of the reason why I ran, because I do think look at things differently from the people on my board. The age gap between me and the other four members on the town board on the town board here in Chester, it is it's significant, and they are going to look at things differently than I am. So I think it is important for me to run. So all the people that are my age in Chester, they know there's somebody there with with their ideals and their values, and something that with things that they want to push for and they want to see out of their town government. So I think changing perception in the hearts and minds of people that aren't usually they're not usually used to seeing somebody as young as you run. I think that's very important, because once they get comfortable with it, then the chances of you getting in, the chances of you being able to explain to them what you're running on, it's huge and it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with you. Before we close out, there's a couple questions came through Facebook that I just want to send your way. One is asking if you feel like there's a downside to being part of a multi-generational family living in Chester. Are there no downsides?
Multi-generational family. So I don't really see the downside to it. I think for me at least, it could be a downside to other people for other reasons, but for me, I think it's a plus. Like I said earlier, people know my family. People are really I guess I'm just so lucky to have such a great family and to have people that have been involved in the community before. They haven't been involved politically, but they're known for being kind and open. I think that's been a plus for me, because it's been a kind of an icebreaker to know, like, oh, they're Bonnie Katz's grandson, or oh, they're Marin Pyatt's grandson, or Dee Holdridge's grandson, and they know me, they know my family, so it's been a plus for me, and it really just it allows them to feel more comfortable with being able to understand and get to know me, somebody who's so young and somebody who is untested and somebody who hasn't made a name for himself yet. It gives them like that little mental block out of their brain. They're okay. Like, I know their family. I know his family a little bit, so I can get to know him and see what he's like. But if they didn't know my family, maybe they'd be a little bit more unsteady with who I am and if they should vote for me or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Another question there is have the senators you worked for given you advice on your campaign at all?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the first senator I worked for, Jose Peralta, he passed away back in 2018, I believe, or yeah, it was 2018, 2019. So unfortunately, he didn't. He gave me some advice, about my future when he was still with us and when I was still working with him. So that was good. But with the second senator, yeah, I've been in talks with him. I've talked to him a couple times. He started out just like me, just like other young Democrats. He ran. I think it was in his late 20s. For the clerk position in his town. I think it was Clarkstown over in Rockland County. He ran pretty young, and I think if I could be mistaken, but he lost his first race, and he told me one of his biggest, and I think one of his biggest pieces of advice was don't let a loss bring you down, whether it's losing the campaign or just not failing, like, or somehow failing in something within the campaign that you're running in now, or just any setbacks, any at all, big or small. Don't let them bring you down. Like, use that as fuel, use that as energy to do it right next time, or to get it better next time. That was one of the biggest pieces of advice he's given me. And I've talked to him on other things too, and he's been very helpful. So my advice to everybody else who is thinking about running, or just doing anything political, or anything in reality, anything at all, business, political, anything. Use the people that you worked for. Use the people that you know. It's all about networking. You want to use your connections, because they're gonna, most of them, I hope so. Most of them are gonna help you. They're gonna want to help you. They're gonna want to bring you up. If you work for them, or if you work with them. The Senator Carlucci, he was very interested in being helpful, and he was interested in seeing me succeed. And I think that's just an inherently human concept, is just helping other people, and having a communal thought to how you're going to help other people. So I definitely suggest everybody uses their connections and uses their network to the fullest extent. I called about everybody and everybody to help me with the advice, and to get their take on it. Anybody who's been involved in politics, at least for me. Senator Skoufis, who is the senator in Orange County for me, I've talked to him too. I volunteered for him in the past. I haven't worked for him, but even though I just only volunteered for him or interned for him, he still wanted to help me. I only worked for him for so little. He still reached out. There's another Assemblyman, Jonathan Jacobson. I've never worked for him. I've never interned for him. I never volunteered for him. I met him at a fundraiser one time, and I told him I was running, and he wanted to help me. He's been on the phone with me every week helping me. There's so many people that are ready and willing to help you and to pick you up when you're down, and make sure that you succeed, even if you don't work for them, even if you barely know them. Just reaching out to somebody, or just introducing yourself to somebody, it's going to pay dividends, and it's all about networking, especially when it comes to politics. But I can say that you can apply that just about anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's really helpful advice in general. Before we close out the live broadcast, I wanted to give you the opportunity to say anything about your campaign you haven't had a chance to say yet, or if you feel like you've had the chance to kind of explain yourself and introduce yourself and who you are, that's okay. But I just wanted to give you one last chance to offer up anything.
Yeah, no. So I'm just happy that I was invited on. I did go over quite a bit, I feel like, but I just want to say to everybody how take that leap, take that step, because it really is such an experience, and it really is it's exhilarating, to be able to run. And if you're interested in this, if you're interested in being a public servant, that's what I like to say. I don't like to say a politician. I'd like to say public servant. If you're interested in helping others and really just trying to do good government work, get involved. Go to your local committee, go to your county committee or your state committee. Get involved in some way and see what positions are open. And if you're one of those people where you're comfortable with running, run. Go say that you're comfortable. Say that you want to run, because I didn't even have to say that, and they wanted me to run my committee. I never said that I wanted to run, but they still wanted you to run. So when you go out and you explain that to people, that you're ready and that you're willing, you're gonna get that chance. You're gonna get that chance, sooner or later. And people take note of that, and people like to hear that, especially from the younger generation. I thought going into this, people were gonna turn their head on me, and they're not gonna want to listen to me because of how young I am, and I don't own this, or I've never experienced this. But the vast majority of people that I've talked to, and I'm proud to say that I've canvassed over 2,500 homes in Chester since June. So in 2 months, 2,500 homes. in the vast majority of those homes, they were excited, they were ready for somebody new, they were ready for new ideas, and I'm excited to give that to them. I'm excited to go out there and make a real change, because that's what it all is about. It really is about changing the way it is, because when you find those mistakes, when you find those problems in your community, you think they're small, you think they're not like a big deal, but when you go and talk to people, it's life or death for some people. It's what's on somebody's mind every day to some people. So making that change for them, and knowing that you're going to do that, you're going to try to do that, that energizes them, that energizes you. If you're interested in politics at all and you want to run, do that. If you're not interested in being a candidate, get involved anyway. I was an intern for so many years. I worked on other people's campaigns for so many years. It's also a fulfilling experience. It's also, you putting somebody who's good in that position to help people. So I'm just proud that I was able to take that step and really try to run for my community. And I'm proud of the campaign that I'm running, and that so many people are helping you with. You would be surprised how many people are willing to help you. Old and young. I have friends that I went to high school with that are helping me on this. I have friends that I've just made who are, in their 60s that are helping. It's a real amazing experience, and I implore everybody who is interested in this to take that leap, because you won't regret it.
I hope everyone who's watching is taking that advice to heart, and who knows, might be ready to run a campaign themselves. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for joining us here. For those interested in Brandon's campaign, you can find links to his Facebook page in the video. We'll link that after. Is there another page that people should be redirected to, or is that kind of the best location?
Yeah, Facebook, Brandon Holdridge for Chester Town Board. You can find that on Facebook. It's a pretty great page. I like to say so myself. And then also Instagram, Brandon Holdridge 4, the number 4 Chester, CHESTRER. So Brandon Holdridge 4 Chester and Brandon Holdridge 4 Chester Town Board, Facebook and Instagram. You can find me there. And if you're interested in reaching out to me, if you just message me. I monitor it all the time. I get back to people personally. Like, this isn't some presidential campaign where you're gonna have some intern getting back to you. I'm it. So I get back to everybody. I'm always happy to talk to anybody. So if you want to reach out to me, if you have questions, if you want some advice, if you want guidance, I'm more than willing to help anybody, because I think our generation really needs to step up its game and get involved now, because if we don't, what we see happening around the world, all the terrible problems that are happening, those are just going to continue. And unfortunately, I think it's going to take us to really fix a lot of what's going on. And so I implore everybody to run, and I implore everybody to reach out to me if they have anything that they want to ask me, because I will get back to you, and I will help you as much as I can.
Okay, great. Yeah, young people, you have your mandate. So, cool. Again, thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.